That's the thing. Right? Nah. Hi, everybody. And Paul.
Good evening.
I was like, where's my logo? It's not in the corner of the screen. It was just it doesn't play it when the fucking brand thing is going. So okay, my bad. What is up? Sorry for the late start. I even scheduled it 10 minutes late, and I ended up being even later. My bad. It's my apologies. My wife started a new job today, and she came home. She got home a little bit later than she expected, and she came home right when we were about to start this thing. So I got a lot of stuff that I went down today to talk about. How are you doing, Paul? Oh shit.
Good, man. What's going on, everybody? So we already got people.
Boom, Kyle. Fuck yeah.
Oh, what is
Kyle's
he doing?
Also working on shit.
Hello, gentlemen.
What's up?
I figured you'd be.
Rensley, what's up?
You know what? Deep into Armored Core by now.
Oh,
No.
so I'm hesitant to buy it for a multitude of reasons. One, I don't want to waste precious time playing a video game when I should be working on other things.
Right.
And the other thing is I've only played a bit of one Armored Core game.
Yeah.
And I remember not being into it at the time.
Right. Which one was it though? That's the thing.
They're all different. I think it was 4.
Yeah. 4 was like for me too.
Because like the mech design and all that, and then the graphics, I was like, oh, I love fucking mechs, and I got it. And a huge Zone of Enders fan. So like epic dodging combat and was always my thing. But then I got into that and I was just like, aiming is a nightmare.
And I felt like that
limited.
I feel like that was more like a fucking crazy number spread menu jockey. There were so many menu shit. It was all just like little tiny text and shit. And I was like, man.
Yeah, and the combat was fast paced. I was expecting fast paced, and it was just like, why do I feel like I have to do more thinking to do something than actually just making it like a second nature thing? Oh yeah, fucking dodge, because like they show me boosters in the tutorial, and I'm like, cool, and then I'm like, I can only go 5 feet though.
Like, when you start,
What was that one on? Was that the PS2 one? What's going on, Jeff?
3 or 2, yeah. Can't remember which one.
I remember thinking the same thing, like that it wasn't as intuitive because, like, I mean, at the end, you're just a robot first person shooter, right? Like, but most games in that genre have kind of the same, controls, like to some extent. Like, you expect like this trigger is gonna shoot this, this button is gonna do this, and then it's like all conventional wisdom is out the door with that game.
Oh. I mean, it takes 17 buttons just to shoot all of your weapons, and then you have 17 other for mobile. And I'm like, wait, there's only 10 buttons on the controller though. How do I do all that?
Use like still use all fingers.
Develop
weird claw and use these 2 for the shoulder buttons, and then these ones for the tops, and these ones for the insides for PlayStation controllers.
It threw me off. And buddies of mine kept telling me, no, you got to play it. It gets better. And I'm just like, yeah, but there's such a hill to climb just to enjoy it. To get to the point where I'm really going to enjoy it. I was like,
there's a couple of them that happened in there, Kyle, where they kind of like got a little weird. They tried some new mechanics. They tried to change the way that the stuff was working, and some of them are misses and some of them are hits. They're getting the way that they are now. I think from all the words that I've heard is that, and I haven't been looking at a lot of shit, so take it with a grain of salt. Is that they've taken kind of the stuff that they've learned from the Elden Ring and Dark Souls series, Bloodborne and all that stuff in regards to spatial combat and usability, and then they've been applying that to their already like their thing that they had, which was like the good shit.
Yeah,
I think
I'm on the fence. I want to get it.
If they made it too hard to like today's gamers would be like. Just
a lot of them would bounce off of it.
Wouldn't sell, right? Like,
so I'm reading some of the reviews just to kind of get a feel, because it's day 1 launch, so I'm not even looking at reviews that people say, oh, it's not Souls like or whatever, excuses like that. I'm reading the ones that talk about the technical side, because that's where I'm like, okay, day 1 always has its problems, especially with computer, versions of games. Let's just see what's going on. And a lot of people are bitching that the first boss you get thrown into is the tutorial boss, and I'm like, well, that's a From Software grade A formula. They've been doing that even like in the original Armored Core games. There was always like a first boss that you had to learn how to use the mechanics before you even told what the mechanics were, and that was to the boss. But a lot of people are like bitching and complaining that the boss is too hard, it goes out of bounds. I was like, well, I guess you can kind of manipulate the UI, so that might just be something you're not being creative about. But then some other people are like, I'm an Armored Core like fan through and through, and this first boss is fucking dumb.
Hey Jeff, sorry, I was just about to say we've been hosts.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Jeff popped in. We didn't even say hi or tell him what we were talking about.
Brian said hi. Yeah, Brian said hi.
Yeah, I said hi to Jeff real quick. What's up, Jeff?
Not much. I never played Armored Core, so this is all going over my head.
Yeah, I'm sure if you liked it, you'd probably like 3D print a cockpit, so it would be interesting.
They're pretty cool mecha, I must say.
Yeah.
Is it the game where they look like the ones in Avatar?
No.
Kinda, yeah. They have that. No, they do have that like style look, like they're bipedal.
No, that's Mech Warrior. You're thinking of
body
Mech Warriors.
is rather short.
Oh, okay.
Now these are like slender. They're have pointed heads. Like they're. I don't think. I think Mech Warrior is probably more akin to Avatar looking. The robot that the guy has.
They have more of that look than they do like a Gundam style. Like they're not.
True. Yeah.
They don't have the long torso. They have like the.
I would say,
shorter.
Yeah, they look more like Kotobukiya kits than they look like Bandai Gundam kits.
Let's see.
Obviously,
they look like Robo Jocks.
kind of. In a way, kind of. But they're faster by far. And
one anime with the guy that had the mask. What was that
like
one?
the fast zombies?
Yeah.
Not exactly rage zombie level reimagining. Let's see. Miguel's out there. Hey, Miguel, how you doing? Islamabad Kyle, indeed, beard is in full effect. Hi, Furious.
Aloha snack bar. Aloha snack bar.
Hello, snack bar. I love it. Lorenzu, I'm glad you're excited for Armored Core 2. It originally was a PlayStation release. So, I played Armored Core 2 on PlayStation 2 back in the day. It's like almost a launch title for it. So, that's great. And we're here to talk about models. We're all doing fun things and having a good time.
I have to take a break from modeling, sadly, because it's fucking humid as shit in Indiana. It's 94 degrees with 84% humidity. I tried painting last night. I am surprised the paint stuck. My office got humid and hot. Yeah, it was just. I'm just like, oh my god.
Humidity goes under 90.
Yeah, believe it or not, I thought it was always just 100%. It's all or nothing.
Right. Shit.
I think we're 45 right now.
The funny thing is, I had to take some guys on site because they're with like the president of the hospital doing some donation stuff. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna show you guys some stuff, speak to the history of the project, and they were kind of talking about the heat and everything, and they were saying one of their buddies has retired, and they did a going away party for him. He's moving down to Florida. I was like, oh. This weather's perfect. It's getting them ready for what's like there on a day-to-day because it's just normal shit for Florida.
When people always talk about that, like you guys know your humidity percent, like offhand. Like I never have looked at that once in the last 10 years I've been living in Florida. Like I don't know it exists. I understand the concept perfectly, but like we don't look at it because
it's always the same.
Right. I mean, like, what's the difference between 95 and 100? Does it really matter?
It's a little dry today. Okay. This is weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, Miguel, we're still working on it. We're opening the hospital January 28th. So we're 3 years going to be finally done. And oh boy, am I looking forward to it. This project has been.
Well, it's a hospital. They're big.
Well, I mean, yes. And so in terms of like most construction projects, you are going to deal with problems. And it's just the scale of the problems. But this particular project, even though it has your standard shit that's happened, it's having things that shouldn't be a problem. Like we're doing, so just kind of talking about something that's most people probably don't understand, but we're prepping our load banks for our medium voltage switchgear. So it's the main service going to the hospital, it provides electricity, everything. And so we're getting all that stuff tuned in. So we have to kill everything and work off of critical power. By doing that, for some reason, we fucked up our chillers, which then on a hot week doesn't do your hospital good because you went from having nice AC conditioned space to it being 120 degrees and he's sweating humidity because of just the amount there was, because we're only doing outside air. We're not running return yet because of construction. Right. And all because we just went to critical power. Everything just started losing its shit. And we're like, what the fuck? This stuff got started up months ago. It's been running just fine. And all of a sudden, it's just, we call it the Project Murphy's Law epicenter, because everything that could go wrong did go wrong. And it's just like, oh my God, please, let's just get over this. Oh yeah, we have a lot of change orders. I've been processing change orders galore with my electricians.
If you've never like worked in any sort of large scale construction, we did work on this Moxie Hotel in Manhattan on like 36th Street or something like that, right by Penn Station, right in the heart of Midtown. And that place, when they got around to closing things up, because I do fit and finish, right? So I did finish shit. So it was like hotel. I was like shrouds, finished stuff in the bathrooms, and like we built the bar out of copper. And and when they turned the sprinklers on, when they first pressure test the whole sprinkler system, it was flooding everywhere in the whole fucking hotel. And it's finished floors, carpeted, everything's painted, everything's ready to go. And they're like, oh well, we should prime the sprinklers. Miguel, so nothing was tight.
We have beaten your change order. We're at 1,253 and counting.
Oh
1,253 change orders.
Yeah,
so sorry for the accountant.
Change orders amongst
1,253 change orders.
So that's change orders amongst the owner. They're going directly to the owner. There are change orders towards us for contingency. There's change orders that are back charged to other subs. Yeah, we have here. Miguel will know this one. We have 45 bulletins. And we're not even done. They're going to send probably 2 more before the end of this project.
What?
That is an unheard of number. On average, you probably deal with like 12 bulletins on a project. The last hospital we built, we reached a maximum of 23. And it was the same 3-year period. We have doubled that. That's how shitty this experience is. It's just, I don't know. With COVID and everything, I mean, it could have been worse. We could have really gotten nailed by a lot of things. We've tried to work through a lot, but just some things.
When you guys do change orders, so like I'm an owner, right? So I hire contractors all the time, but don't send me a change order for like one thing, like, oh, we're gonna move the light switch from here to here. Like, you send me a change order when it's time or money, and if it's not time or money,
a lot of it,
and if you have like 10 things you need to do and it's going to cost you, let's just say for a number $1,000, you send me one change order for $1,000. Because if you sent me 1,253, I would like be screaming at everybody. So hostily.
A lot of it's due to changes due to the design. The design wasn't complete, so they didn't have it in their base scope. And then so there's a lot of that. There were changes to changes. So then that, we installed it. Now we got to remove it. Now we got to reinstall it because they can't make up their fucking mind. A lot of that's driven from there. I mean, most of these changes are like at a minimum $3,000. With a maximum of 645,000. Like, they range across the board on like the intensity of changes.
Construction project.
Yeah.
All right. As riveting as all of this construction jargon talk is,
let's talk about modeling.
Fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. Call me Duke over on Twitch. Hey, how you doing? Ask a question for us to answer. Here we go, guys. Do you think the 16-year-olds with metal bats could beat a single silverback gorilla in a fight? I am with Paul. No.
He's going to be fucking swinging in.
Not a 1% chance.
It'd just be grabbing and crushing rib cages. It wouldn't matter. They'd be
the first 16-year-old that gets his head popped. The other 19 of them are running away.
The morale was just crushed. Well, the problem is when he gets a hold of one of those metal bats, it's done. You thought you were losing now it's just a manslaughter. Yeah. He's like
dual wield bats, man.
I'm not sure that 20 Aaron Judges with bats could beat a silverback gorilla. Forget
Aaron Judge is a big guy too. He's like 6'7", right, hun? Aaron Judge, he's like
6'6", 270 or something like that.
6'8",
right?
He's basically a gorilla himself.
Colin says 6'8", 220. I think he's more than 220. I bet he's more like 240, 260 maybe. But it's all muscle. The guy's gigantic.
Like, even if a silverback gorilla, right? Like, if you're, I don't know, 6 foot and 185 pounds, and you could find a 6 foot, 185 pound silverback gorilla, his strength is double yours, easy. Like, they're just not built like us. Like, it's not,
We're gonna use the
We're,
Google
we're
machine here real
fucking
quick
made
and
of,
see if
you
there's-
know,
they have to have that calculated, right?
Krispy Kreme donuts, and they're made of pure muscle.
We're 80% water, very squishy.
Yeah. We're 80% McDonald's at this point there.
I got to how much stronger, and then it auto-filled is a gorilla than a human.
It knows.
Because of the great
It's
weight
listening.
of muscular bodies, gorillas are considered to be 4 to 9 times stronger than the average human.
Right.
So
in strength alone, he counts for, you know, and that's a 16-year-old, right? So
yeah, that's not your average human. They're pretty weaselly.
right, like yeah.
I mean, I was when I was 16.
Right. I was just gonna say, assuming they're even like they're guys too, like the male doesn't, you know, like that's still like in your beanpole days. So,
and it says here that silverbacks are in fact stronger than 20 adult humans combined.
right, there you go.
Hey, so we just got the
They
answer.
They can lift or throw up to 815 kilos, while well-trained men can only lift up to around 400. So they can lift and chuck double the weight that like a trained person can, deadlift.
No, definitely.
They're just
not.
like the Hulk. Just like basketball and boulders and shit.
Another thing to consider: one gorilla, 20 guys they're gonna get into each other's ways because they can't just be flailing. So they're already at a disadvantage. This thing is just
knocking each other out left and right, trying to swing. Oh my god!
Yeah, like probably like 6 to 8 of them can only get swings in at the same time, or surround.
He's just grabbing them and bringing them in and fucking and throwing them. And next,
when he's using one of those 16-year-olds like a baseball bat.
Oh.
And you gotta think
just a floppy
like,
flail
because of their muscle mass and
arms until they break
like the way they live, where they fight as kind of like a normal way of life. That them getting hit with a baseball bat is not like you getting hit with a baseball bat, right? Like you get hit with a baseball bat and you crack a rib, or like if you get hit in the face, you're pretty fucked.
Depending on how angry and the
right. He gets hit with a baseball bat and it's like you getting flicked. He's like,
challenging me. Baseball bats hollow.
Yeah. Yes, they are.
He like kinks around his head. He's like, "Are you challenging me?"
Tapping with a spoon.
Did I get bit by a mosquito? What was that?
Ting.
Fantastic. So what are you guys working on today?
I'm done.
Go around. We'll go with Kyle. All right, we're gonna go to Kyle first. Kyle, what are you working on?
Now I'm waiting. I sanded parts, and I'm waiting because I can't paint because of the humidity.
Oh, because it's too humid. What parts did you sand, Kyle?
So all of them. I have sealed joints. I have paint or not sealed, but I've sanded everything. So I've got like Kyle? Legs. I've got armor. So this is
I don't know what you're making.
This is Evangelion Unit 2 Alpha Mega or whatever.
So
I've got all the parts. Yep. From the new Evangelion movie. So I've even got like the outer armor. I've got everything like.
What is that? The real grade
taken care of. No, this is a Kotobukiya kit.
Oh, okay.
It's like just their standard scale. But so I've got everything prepped. I just can't paint, and I was like, shit. The goal is to kind of paint everything, and I just finished sanding some of the parts that I had sealed, getting rid of the gaps and everything. And now I'm kind of like, oh well, I've got some parts up here that I've started painting and everything, and the paint's stuck, so we're good there. Wait, there we go. The paint's stuck on most of these, but I just can't. I don't want to risk it anymore. So,
is it a very parts heavy kit?
It is in Kotobukiya fashion. I would say, you remember how I had that master grade unicorn?
Yeah.
It's about maybe 2/3 the amount of that one, because that was probably by far the most part heavy kit I've ever done in my life.
Yeah, the unicorn is just known for, facets.
Well, you got the frame, then the psycho frame, and then the outer frame. It's like 3 kits in one, essentially.
You're not doing a Phoenix, Paul. What are you doing? You're working on
the Hyakushiki.
Hyakushiki.
Nah.
I built the Phoenix, the master grade one. Worst kit I've ever put
plated, right?
By far. Yeah.
Horrible. That's the one I used. And shit was breaking. Everyone was like, what the fuck?
Jeff knows a thing or two about plated kits.
It took me like
I got a
sometimes I would
PG
just stare at
Phoenix
the
I gotta do.
directions and be like, "What am I doing here?"
What was that, Jeff?
I got a PG Phoenix. I haven't done it yet.
Oh.
I would hope that one's a little better.
I've
Just
never heard
maybe
anything
'cause
bad
of, like-
about it.
Yeah. I would think just scale wise, because like I don't think they definitely. It doesn't seem like when I built it that they built the 1/100 like they built the unicorn with the intent of making the Phoenix. Like it was definitely an afterthought because the tolerances on the plated parts were just
Well, and for
fucked.
some reason, the plastic on that
Yeah.
was different. I had parts of the frame that were just deteriorating. I'm like, what the fuck? I didn't even wash these parts. What? I didn't. So I had to
That might-
use the Banshee to rebuild parts of the frame of the Phoenix because thankfully it's interchangeable. But because the plastic, I don't know what they used.
That might have been
outside
like
of the other,
really early ABS.
probably,
for
but
Bandai?
like it, and as it got through, like most of the parts I thought were still good. I was just going through it. They started deteriorating too. So I almost like replaced the entire frame
Wow.
for the Phoenix, but like the outer armor, that was fine. And I stripped that shit with alcohol.
Yeah.
All that. Those parts were fine. It was the inner frame parts that didn't have any chemicals put on them that just start deteriorating. And I don't understand like what caused that. And the other two, I built the Banshee and the Unicorn, didn't have any issues with those kits. So I don't know what happened with the Phoenix.
I built it. It's in the I don't know what you call it, like the unicorn mode. What do they call it? Them the Phoenix mode?
Psycho,
I don't fucking know. No. When he's closed up, and I was like, I'm never opening that shit. Like, never gonna happen.
Miguel being spicy in the chat. Miguel's being real spicy in the chat.
Wait, Miguel, did you still build kits? Last time you were working on that.
What the high knew? Last thing I knew, right?
No, he was working on the pew pew guy, the rifle
the
one,
Buster?
the Dynamis,
Dynamis? The
yeah,
Dynamis.
And then I haven't seen him do anything since.
Right.
So, yes,
I wondered if he
Miguel.
had because we all got the assault shroud, or several of us got the assault shroud with the upgrade. But it's still just chilling in the backlog.
The Fortune Meow, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Here we
Go guy, the Dynamis.
Oops. Eb says, nice. Says Burn is marbling. Dude, I picked up my to me it's a fail shirt the other day and was like, man, I can't wait for Critic Wall to come back. It's coming.
Yeah, Miguel, submit your Dynamis, your Dynamis.
Dynamis.
I have to like say it slowly because my tongue was like getting locked up on me.
Yeah. Kyle's a wordsmith. Creates new words on the fly.
It's the only way I can speak if I speak my own language. Can't say I'm wrong if I created it.
True. Definitions and all. Paul, so you're Hayaku Shiki. How's that going? I did some work last time.
Yeah. Everything is painted. I got to put the decals on the binders, and
Nice.
The body's completely done. I got some paint on the weapons. I got to do a little bit of masking for one or two parts on the weapons, and then that's pretty much it. I would say like another week or so. Should be done.
3 years down. There you go.
Yeah. Well, it was like 2 months and then 2.5 years of not touching it, and then
you gotta let the paint cure. And I don't blame you.
like it's cured.
It ain't go nowhere.
True.
It might be different colors at this point, just because it's been sitting for so long.
Oh,
I like that
oxidized.
faded
Nice.
look you got going on.
Wait, weathered from being stuck in the window. Mr. Jeff, what are you doing, man? I know you're crazy. What are you making?
Crazy?
Well, you know.
I'm not that crazy.
Yeah, you
You're
are.
not
In a good way.
crazy.
Printer's been running for 4 weeks continuously.
That sounds crazy.
But I didn't come here to show that. I got a Bulber car, man. Yeah.
Hey, what's that in the background though? What you got going on in the background?
Oh, you guys want to see the unicorn head?
What's behind your ball?
What's behind my balls? Wouldn't you like to know? Let me shift the camera around.
Sure.
Speaking of which, Jeff, Mike Winalli's been working on the kit you sent him.
I know. It's awesome.
I need to check out Mike's streams again since he started back up. What, a couple months ago?
It's true, Rick. I like I gave everyone what's the worm from
Babelfish.
Yeah, I gave everyone a Bigglefish, so they totally understand me, even though they.
It helps
they
that
don't
I'm kind
understand.
of I'm kind of telepathetic as well. I can kind of read people's minds, so
Yeah.
it's
All
easy
right,
for me
here
to
comes.
understand what
This
you're
is a
saying. See it?
genuine, not to be confused. Unicorn head!
Oh my gosh! Look at that!
Fucking love
Look
it,
at
man.
that!
Stand in awe.
It's like you guys. I think Julio and I were talking about this in one of the recordings where.
It's on the tip.
Oh shit! Look how big it is!
Jesus
Yo.
Christ.
There you
God
go.
damn, you
That
can
is-
wear that on your head.
That's fantastic. Yeah,
Jeff,
what's
what's the scale on the Millennium Falcon? It kind of like just for
That's studio
Falcon's
scale.
143rd.
Oh
Right.
shit!
That's studio, right?
Yep.
Sweet.
that's the master grade in your hands.
Nice.
Oh, that's wild.
Look at the scale difference. It's like, hi, big brother. Hi, little brother.
So I got to take the V-fin off because it's actually not attached yet, and it's going to fall. And then go smash.
Oh no!
It's like you're building a cosplay Gundam. It's like an actual size of a helmet.
Yeah, it's kind of costing me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's costing me size. It's bigger than my head. Like,
Oh, it even has a pivot point. Oh wow!
it's so big, and to get good prints, I can't actually see what's on camera. Can you see what I'm pointing at? These lines?
Yep.
Yes.
Mhm.
All right, so this cheek part is one piece, right?
Yep.
Right.
But to get it to print nice, I had to split it here and here
Hmm.
and here,
Yeah.
and then this.
What are you
part,
going to use to close the seam line? Bondo?
Something like that.
Yeah. I got you,
Nice.
Jeff. You had to
Even
do
got,
the
little
same
pegs
thing.
you can put it through.
You had to do the same thing with your Zaku, right?
No, all the parts in the Zaku fit in the resin printers.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
I could actually probably show it. It hasn't been touched in a while. Can you see it back there?
Hey, I
Yeah,
see
yeah,
it.
yeah.
He's looking at us. I hear
Big
you guys
old
talking
boy.
about me.
What you talking about, boys?
Rick Furious is a question for you, Jeff. Says, how heavy is that head?
So I don't know exactly. I know that I went through 10 kilograms of filament, but I had to.
Oh my god!
I had to reprint a bunch of parts. Like,
right.
It's sort of like I'm learning the process knowledge to do this. How to, scale big, print big, get good results from big, and then the next challenge is cleanup. Right, because I don't think I've ever done any cleanup on anything this big before.
Right.
So you mentioned scale up. Are you taking files that are much smaller and then upscaling them to this gigantic, impressive size?
Absolutely. This is Rocky Q's 1/100 kit.
Oh, okay,
Wow.
yeah. I was actually going to ask where you got the STL for it. You've been doing really good work. I've been liking some of the. I've been actually wanting to buy some of his resin files to print some stuff myself. But
so this is 1/100, and you scaled it to what?
1/6.
1/6?
I love how the chin fell off when you said that. 1/6.
oh, mouth dropped.
Jeff, on the light gray, is that a guide coat that you have on there, or is that just like the color after being printed? Like it's kind of like a
the black
blotchiness
parts
to it.
are the filament. I misted some primer on here just so it's really hard to see detail when it's all black, right?
On the light gray, it almost looks like you sprayed. I guess I said that, and I didn't even explain what that was. Like on cars, you spray a guide coat, and it tells you like high and low spots because when you get that large, right? Like, it's different for sanding something that's 1/100 scale. You're not going to notice like every little wave in a piece of plastic or a metal in that case.
Yeah,
I understand what you're saying perfectly. That wasn't the intent. I will be doing that.
Yep.
No, it was like I had a little bit left of Krylon primer, and I just misted it.
Just to get a look at it. Yeah,
you'll see.
Makes sense.
Oh, the crest isn't on it. Where the hell's the crest? What the heck?
Oh, I see another unicorn in the back behind your printer too, with the banshee head.
That's mega size.
Aha!
I'm making a mega
Many
size
unicorns
banshee.
in this house. Many unicorns.
Yeah, I don't know what the crest must be in the other room.
Well, Jeff is a connoisseur.
So is this transformable?
No,
I don't remember if the file. So it's just in psycho mode.
it's
Or
unchained
mode
actually.
or whatever.
It's unchained mode.
Unchained.
Yeah.
Ah.
Got little wings that stick up here, and like really with the head, unchained mode is just those little wings on the head.
Right, the little extra bits on that make it look more like antlers than just like a V-fin, right?
Well, no, they're not part of the V-fin. They're just like these panels here flip up, and they got some psycho frame in them.
Oh. I guess I haven't watched Unicorn enough times yet. I have only seen it like a dozen.
I don't think Unchained was in the
I think it's in the manga.
The manga thing.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
gotcha.
I don't think
that
it's
would
in the anime.
that would be why I haven't.
And you only get it, like in model kit form, you only get it in the PG.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I only
think,
have real grades. So.
I think the only other Unchained features on the suit are the sides of the legs open up, and there's more psycho frame that flips out.
Crazy.
Yeah, so that thing is a little unwieldy to carry around. I took it to the local Gunpla meetup this weekend because, like, until it's cleaned up, nothing here is secure.
Right.
Parts will just fall off.
Yeah, as has been proven by the jaw.
Yeah, gravity is really fighting this thing hard.
I will show one thing. Let's see.
Oh my god!
So
look how
for one thing, the
V-fin is.
V-fin will put your eye out.
Yeah, that's a sharp
Nice.
boy. No safety nubs on that bitch.
Yeah. And another thing was this here is all one part, and then these come out.
Oh wow!
Okay.
Got it rotted. Nice.
Stainless steel rods.
Did you have to drill those, or does the model come with like placement for rods?
No, the model comes. This entire thing is one piece. I'm in CAD chopping it up, putting the holes in for these pins. And the other thing is, in order to get, you know how the unicorn fin, like I think in the PG, I don't know about the MG, but I think in the MG it's a decal, and in the PG it comes like gold paint.
Yeah.
If you want a nice finish here, you want to print it flat to the bed. Right? And then you just have to do the cleanup on the back. But this is as smooth as it comes off the bed. But the problem is, obviously, the unicorn, the V-fin goes in different directions. You can't print it flat on the bed like that.
Right.
Because you see what I mean? I don't know if you can see it. If I print this side flat, this side's sticking in the air. If I print this side flat, this side's sticking in the air. Right? So, two things I did. If I can get this off. Some parts are really
guys,
tight.
I gotta go help Amy Akio some shit, so I'll be back.
All right, we'll see you, Kyle.
All right. I split it in the middle so I could print both parts flat. And then this is epoxied back together. And then you notice all these, you see it? See all those holes?
Yeah.
Those are guides because I chopped the surface off.
Oh, the plating, right.
They have little like alignment pins.
Sure.
And it'll line in there because it's going to be a real pain in the arse to do cleanup in these little gaps.
Yeah, to try and get into all the reveals, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. So I chopped off all this so I can finish this nice and smooth, and I can finish these nice and smooth, and just stick them together.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I like it. You can use magnets to hold them on, or are you going to glue all that together in the end?
I think one of the reasons that I split this center portion like this is that I wanted to glue it.
Okay.
And then, but still have it, transportable. Like it'd be really hard to move around with these pointy bits on it. What else? really likes it, the kit, the way it falls together. It's always looking down, and that's it's difficult to do cleanup or fiddle around with stuff. So I actually had to modify. I got to move this stuff. I had to modify the neck connection so that I didn't have to be looking down all the time. Don't want this stuff to fall.
A lot of bits.
Yeah. Something else just fell off. It was a chin again. See the big orange polycap?
That's great. Yeah, I was going to say it looks like a giant polycap.
Yeah. So the way that this is like this is the skull, right? Everything else goes on to that. The way it's designed is it sits like that. And what I did was, in CAD, of course, I cut a wedge out of the polycap so that I can pull the head back. Otherwise, you only got about 2 degrees of pull the head back.
I guess I didn't even. Yeah, that makes sense because it's not 100 scale or 160 scale. It's hard to move around, right? Like if you got to sand the chin, like you have this thing like a bowling ball in your lap as you're trying to sand, I guess.
Well, yeah, and also like when you show it off when you're finished, right?
Right.
You're not going to see any of the detail around here if it's like that.
Right.
Yeah,
right,
you're
right.
not. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's better for honestly, in my opinion, it's better for the whole thing to have it with more posability anyway. I do that with my kits when I build them standard. So
I think the chin tuck thing doesn't work as well without the body. You know what I mean? To like give it that sense of like menacing. Like if it's just sitting there as a bust, it looks fine to just stare straight at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It almost should looks more like a traditional or like a Roman bust or something.
I'm still wondering where I put that crest. It's in the other room.
Oh my God, we saw Jeff.
No.
It's okay.
Hold on.
Barely.
Hold on. I got my two.
Barely. Fantastic. Oh, Miguel's making jokes here. He says this man sands his kits with a carpentry planer. I could
pretty much.
Well, I got an orbital sander.
Yeah. Oh, who doesn't? You gotta have one.
Well, I didn't have one until recently.
Oh, well, okay then.
And there was a sale on what have I got here? Those 20 volt powerless cordless tools, DeWalt's.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Got a sale on I don't know what it is. It's like a handheld bandsaw.
Sure.
You know what those things are?
Yeah, quick saw. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, so
Very
I just
familiar.
put it in my vise and then I use it to cut my stainless steel rods.
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, it's usually $250 and I got it for $100.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
On something like that for sanding, like what do you have to start off with grit? Because obviously, doing Gunpla with 600 or something to begin with is not going to work there. You start much lower.
I got my sanding packs right here.
I would
started with a 2 something on some of the really rough stuff, and then it's been pretty much 320.
Okay.
And then once that's like 320 until I like start filling those seams and puttying stuff.
Right.
And then
I would have gone even more aggressive, but I come from the whole different world of like metalworking and shit. So
yeah, the thing is the PLA, the plastic fuzzes if you
got you. So if you're too aggressive, got you. And you're probably gonna create a lot more heat with the more coarse grit than with the lighter grit.
Yeah, this other thing you can get melted.
Do you use any compounds? Do you use any compounds when you sand? Or like i.e. wet kit? Sanding? Like i.e. wet sanding? Or like do you use any like polishing compounds when you're working on the finish?
Used all that stuff.
Yeah.
Let's see where I go with this one. It being that large. I don't know what finish I want. Do I want shiny? Semi-shiny? Matte? Right. I don't know. I haven't decided.
For fillers and stuff, you can't use, traditional putty, right? What do you use? Do you actually use Bondo?
I don't like Bondo.
It shrinks a lot, but
yeah.
Depending on what kind you have. Yeah.
I don't know where the box is. I got this stuff that was recommended to me. It's by a company called U-Pole. I'll find it. I've got the box. It's still taped up. It's a filler putty. I think it's in this box. Oh, you remember last time I was asking about EVA foam?
Yeah.
I got some. I got some crappy stuff from Amazon, and then that place that we found in Calgary or Edmonton, I can't remember, somewhere in Canada.
Yeah.
Got some from there. And I wanted some heavy stuff to make, no, that's filler primer. Somewhere. Oh, here it is. Combination putty.
Interesting.
The recommendation was you can fit it with damn it. Acetone. You can thin it with acetone. So if you want to go into those tiny cracks, basically the panel lines, right?
Right.
You can thin it out so it will flow into those panel lines. We'll see.
Cool. Super cool. I like it. Acrylic, not bad at all. Better than epoxy in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it's an acrylic too, and so apparently it dries real fast.
Sweet. Maybe not. I don't know if it'll be. No, it'll probably be hard, but I don't know. It's hard to say what's hard and what's not hard with epoxy putty. If you mix your epoxy putty wrong, or you apply it in a weird situation, that shit ain't hard at all. So
yeah.
Cool. That's great shit, Jeff.
And then I've just been buying random filler primers until I find one that I like.
Try everything.
Oh, nice.
Once.
Montana. Or MTN, what Montana used to be. A real parent company for Montana. Yeah.
Oh, neat. I have a bunch of their stuff.
Yeah. MTN. And then they sold their name and their paint line, and then the paint went to shit. So MTN is the good brand to get.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
But
I always used what the fuck was it when I was doing props and making stuff large scale stuff and resin cast stuff? It was basic Krylon. I was using the Krylon 2X primer. And
that's what I have, but I found that I had to wait a really long time or it would gum up my sandpaper.
Oh, so for me it worked really well for whatever reason. I don't know if it's just where I am geographically. But I used to use it for filling and sealing in my MDF bucks for making molds. So I'd spray that stuff down, and in 15 minutes I could sand it. Oh, look at that. You make yourself a sword, or your son, for that matter. You can beat a woodchuck with that thing.
It's like a hunk of wood, man.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's what you wanted, right?
Gonna chop it up on my laser and make sanding blocks.
Oh, fantastic. You'll need them.
I know.
For sure.
All right.
So
there's the show.
I can say on my end of the world, y'all, you all saw the DeLorean, right? Yep. Right. Looking beautiful. DeLorean's sex factory. And the Porsche, I painted it green. It was bright, glorious, glorious. That's what no skewers was. Glorious bright green. I'm going to just make models. See the screen really quick and use my phone. It's going to show a halo from the ring light. There you go. That was what it looked like today, this afternoon. Doesn't want to focus, but
nice.
Right? Looks pretty good for what it's worth. It wasn't good enough. So I stuck it in a bath of purple power super duper industrial degreaser and spent the course of a couple episodes of Foundation and an entire 2.5-hour movie, and with a toothbrush and a grout brush, stripping the car back to raw primer, and then I just repainted it right before the show. So it was a fail, but that's okay. So just went back to where I needed to be. Started back over with the black primer. I got to do a couple of rounds of sanding and priming to get that perfect where I want it to be. Like, because of, stripping it down, it left like reveals and anomalies and stuff in it. So there's like artifacting, hard to say, in some of the paint layers and stuff like that. So I gotta make sure I go through and sand all those down, make sure it's nice and sexy, so that when I do finally put the next coat of paint back on, which is again going to be that kiwi green. My secret to it, to make it look nice though, is I added this Russian cockpit emerald green.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a very good thing, because it actually, all right, it actually made the green less yellow, which is exactly what I needed. I just added a couple little drops of that, and it brought it back towards that more like Kermit green that it was. It looked really nice though. I liked it. Like, I spent so long masking all the bumpers and everything on it. I think this time I might do it the other way and just paint it all, and then mask it to paint those parts black after the fact. Just because,
yes, especially since you're painting over black, like what you're covering is black. The other way. You know what I'm saying? You're covering with black, so it covers real well. If you were trying to cover the black with green, it wouldn't work as well.
And because, I don't know if you guys saw it, all the work that I did on the front end, masking it before, I masked out the windshield, I masked the sidewalls, I masked the whole, the rear, the bumpers, the grill on the back for the engine, and all that stuff, and the side runners and all that shit. Spent a long time doing it, and then regardless, it's still paint creeps behind the tape. I would have had to mask it all off and paint it all again anyway. So it was like moot. I wasted a lot of time, but that's okay, because you gotta learn somehow. Sometimes you learn the easy way, and sometimes you learn the hard way. The most important part, in my opinion, is that I learned, and I did. So moving forward, hopefully by the end of Saturday, I can be back to where I want to be with that.
Is that a giant fucking chocolate bar, Kyle?
Yes, it is. Wow. Kind of melted, so I can't break into pieces. So I'm just eating the chunks. I Akioed the shit out of that game, by the way, guys. Eating challenges for my wife in Hogwarts Legacy.
Oh, that's what you were doing. You were helping Amy with the game.
The only reason why she's able to 100% that game is because I beat the toughest challenges. That shit was hard. Bitch was talking smack.
Yeah.
I showed her though after 100 tries. No matter how many times you lose, it's better winning once.
Perseverance, not skill.
What do we have here, Jeff, for these events for
These are, I'm building the back skirts.
Okay.
I'm not going to print these, but
I was going to say, what are you doing? Like, how? Because I mean, if it took you 10 kilos to do the head, like, you're gonna print this whole fucking beast, man.
No, I mean it's not practical. I need sponsorship. It would be thousands and thousands of dollars in filament.
Like, where would you put that? 1/6 scale.
It's massive. He's in Canada. They got space.
I know, but like a typical ceiling in a house like 8 feet, I think's gonna exceed.
No, it doesn't make. Yeah, it makes no sense.
It's 4 meters high, so 12 feet.
Put that shit in a showroom. Front. That's where that belongs.
Throw a holiday hat on it.
Like, I know a Gunpla store that would probably buy it. If you assembled it, but Miguel knows a guy. Touch base with Miguel. Maybe he knows that guy that will pay for you to print all that shit out for him.
That guy that wears a shirt.
Yeah, you know him. Everybody knows that guy. He's the guy.
Which guy?
That reminds me, Jeff. I got myself an FDM printer recently that I've been fiddle farting with, and that's a whole new learning curve.
It is.
I honestly think resin's easier to play with. Shit. Just when I think I got my settings locked in, I'm getting all kinds of artifacts and problems. I'm like, what the fuck? I don't understand this.
Well, I'm in a pretty good place right now because, I bucked the trend. Everyone's buying carbon. Was it carbon X1, whatever's.
Yeah.
And I've always bought Prusa, and I have a combination of both my Prusa printers. I have a Mark IV and an XL. Prusa Mint Galaxy Black just works. I don't have to change nothing. I don't have to fiddle with nothing. It's super expensive. It's way more expensive than the cheapest you can get. But the trade-off is it just works. So there's a lot less reprinting, and
it's true.
So many
having less failures kind of adds up in cost savings when you think about it in the grand scheme of things.
Well, time too, right? Because when you're doing a 96-hour print and it fails at hour 80.
That's true. That's true. Rick's asking what printer I got. I just got a little dinky Anycubic Cobra Go. Nothing, right hold amount. It works. I mean, I printed a couple things. I actually made a chisel case for one of the guys in the Palma Labs. Here's one of the test prints I did. So, I mean, I'm able to get some decent stuff depending on what I'm doing. But the thing is, I ran out of this filament, and this is the one that has the most success on it. The other PLA and PDTG I've been using, it's kind of hit or miss on whether or not I get a good print. So I got to work on learning those skills.
Yep, you just got to find a place where your comfort is, and then just stick to it.
Yeah, I'm running test prints right now. I have some white PLA just to kind of make sure I got my settings kind of tuned in and everything. I think a lot of it too is that I've been trying to figure out having the bed being level and just making sure that's all squared away, because that's another thing that has to be taken care of. So I'm just working through that kink as well.
Yeah, I mean, the new Prusas have goof-proof leveling that just automatically works at the start of every print. And
nice. This has got auto leveling, but I don't think it's like as effective as a Prisma printer would be. It's Anycubic, they use relatively cheap things, but it works. I'm working through some kinks on it, but
yeah, I'm definitely paying for the privilege, right? But
well, I mean, that's what I've always come to find out with certain printers, that they're more expensive for a reason. Like Bamboo Lab stuff, it's super costly, but you get a lot of creature comforts and a lot of no hassle stuff that just kind of equates in the grand scheme of things, especially if you find yourself printing a lot of stuff with certain accuracy tolerance and stuff. It makes sense to go with those brands rather than some of the simpler stuff like the Enders and the Anycubics.
Yeah, everybody wants speed right now, and I don't care. I want prints that don't fail.
Exactly. Success is way better than speed, because if you failed 30 prints just to get that 1 10-minute print, it all kind of adds up to 300 minutes nonetheless.
Well, that's it too. And like with the Bamboo printers, they print fast, right? But there's a consequence of printing fast is you lose strength. And that head, I don't know what it weighs. It weighs more than my head, and a human head is not light, right? If it
8 pounds,
strong,
I heard on
oh really?
A movie one time. No, it's more.
Oh,
than
this
that.
weighs more than 8.
I've never held just one head.
Jerry Maguire, the human head weighs 8 pounds.
Attached to the human body. I've never had the privilege or the opportunity to handle a severed head. Dun, dun, dun.
So I'd like to criticize Mr. Tim Childameca. What a fuckhead for printing or having printed such detailed decals that they actually say something in this ridiculously small writing. So I have to figure out what it says so I don't put something stupid on like an exhaust port that says,
escape, rescue.
Yeah.
Dude, who was it?
So thanks, guy.
One of our regulars on KotoKai used to do that as a joke for me specifically. He said he would put the sensor label under the arm.
Yeah.
It's like a sensor, like like there's a sensor there.
Yeah. These
on
are
the rib cage.
Tiny as shit, like this top couple rows here. And
oh yeah.
I'm like, what? I'm looking for like an exhaust port.
I have
style.
in the past gotten my phone out and zoomed in with my phone's camera.
Yeah, I have my helping hands here with the magnifying glass,
and then magnified that, or like magnified it, and then looked at it through my camera to see it.
Thanks a lot, Tim.
Well, my gripe with Tim is you can't mix and match decals now because his are so well done with the
yeah.
and then you take Bandai ones, you're like, fuck, this is just gonna stand out. I can't use these. God damn, not gonna wait for him to release Mecha Decal Sheet 8 that has that part number I want.
Didn't Bandai disqualify a bunch of people from GBWC for not using Bandai decals?
I'm like, really? You're getting up about decals? Like, come on. That's what I think. I made a comment about this either on one of the live streams we've had recently or one of the episodes of the podcast. Yeah. But like, I'm holding off because people are getting disqualified for the stupidest shit.
Oh yeah,
and I'm like, okay, let me wait until they figure out what the hell they're doing with themselves, especially in the U.S. because it doesn't seem like this is a GBWC wide thing. It's more like the U.S. sector for some reason. I'm like, so are you just like trying to make this difficult for good builders and just let the other everyman kind of have a leg up? I don't know what their end goal is or what they're trying to accomplish by criticizing certain, techniques that builders have used and stuff like that. I'm just like, I'm gonna wait until you guys figure your shit out before, because I don't want to invest time and effort into a kit just to get DQ'd. I don't mind losing. If you lose to a good build, that's fine. But just getting disqualified because they just arbitrarily decided, well, we're going to make this the selling point that we want to criticize people's builds for. Right. And you didn't know that was a thing until after the fact. I'm like, what?
I think the problem with GBWC at this point is that you have to stop looking at it as a modeling competition. It is an advertisement for Bandai. Yeah, it's marketing.
Yeah.
So if you're going in there expecting that you're competing in an IPMS style modeling competition, you're going to be
not even that. You don't even want to. Don't you dare put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby, because the IPMS and anything Gundam really doesn't meld super well just yet.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
I just mean
case
like
by case,
that concept of like someone's out there judging you on.
It's a fair competition with criteria.
Yeah. However, I will say this: GBWC does appreciate artistic stuff. There is a root like. The most recent On the Bench, actually, we talk about On the Bench an awful lot. They had a Perth Cycle Girl and then this other chick that I just started following who's from like Thailand or whatever. They were on talking about Gundam. They had like a Gundam interview episode, and it was like an hour and a half of them talking to these two chicks because they don't really know a lot about it. Julian kind of does. Dave built a model, but like they don't really, they're not super familiar with it. Anyhow, they had a couple of people on that knew more than they did. And I've been following Perth Cycle Girl for like probably 2 or 3 years now, I think.
It's great work.
So yeah. And
like the first few people I followed, yeah.
Yeah, no, they're both really, really exceptional artists. And but I will say though is this that Bandai, they do appreciate the artistic interpretations, but yes, you're right, it is also a marketing scheme. So what they're trying to do is promote their kits for sure. So like my Flea, made out of Gundam parts, sure, kind of resembles a polypod ball, sorta, but it is not going to be able to sell kits.
Right.
There's no way in hell that I would have made it any farther than outside of New York City.
It doesn't fit the universe or the
and that's fine. So I think that we
we
can do the extreme customization stuff, but it still has to be like well presented artistically and like very cleanly, but also to be able to inspire someone to want to get into be like, man, I want to make a Gundam kit. Like that's what you want it to do. You don't need it to be like,
it has to be easily recognizable as Gundam.
Yeah,
like
this is
someone has to walk by it and go, "Oh, fucking Gundam."
I will say though, in recent years, I guess since the start of COVID, when they've done this whole online spiel more so than anything, it's a Porsche. They've been kind of catering for that, but they've also gone a different level. Like I've seen a lot of North American builders, especially in this last year, that it's a Gunpla. through and through, heavily modified, very well done, and just completely ignored. It's like they're picking and choosing to what level of artistic creativity and workload. I honestly, I want to be honest, I don't fucking know what they're trying to do. That's how, like, in past, I was able to go, okay, I know why that one won and not this one, even though they're both very well done kits. This makes sense. It's got a lot. He spent hundreds of dollars to get all the different parts that he kit bashed into that. It looks like a Gunpla. In fact, you could probably build a model off of this and introduce it to the series, build virus of that. Like, it makes sense. In the marketing direction, yeah, I like, oh, bam, I totally see it. But in like the last 2, almost 3 years, the winning kits in North America, particularly overseas, it still follows the same trend. Marketing, artistic storytelling, those are still what dictate who the winners are. Like, if you're hitting all those points, you're going to win. But in the US, I can't figure out what it is that's governing the winners. And not to say that these aren't deserving people, it just doesn't follow the normal formula that we were used to seeing in previous years. So I'm like, so what do you need to do to be more competitive in the eyes of the judges?
I think it, like, for me, just like looking at winners over the last, like you said, 3 or 4 years, whatever it's been, you can tell that there's something, like there's a theme per year that catches their eye. Like, I remember a couple of years ago, it was like the Transformer looking one.
Oh yeah,
was like the big thing. It had spikes and it was big. And then it, like, a year later, it was like shiny paint, like shiny, super clean paint, bright color.
Yeah, the next year was the one with the koi, right?
I
or
think
was it
so.
the one with the tube?
That was
no,
that was
the
like
tube,
3 years
right?
ago before
that was
COVID.
the Exia with all the carbon fiber in the tube with it was like really
That was,
photographed.
yeah,
really
well,
well.
that one, like
18?
big. That was like that year. That was like you had to have a big model with some kind of diorama going on around it. Like, but you could see like the top 3 all kind of had like a trend to them, to some extent, but they don't stay consistent with it. It's not like, oh, okay, I get it. I should be building something that is like, whoa, like you walk by and go, holy shit, that's big. Then the next year it's like, oh, if it's shiny green, it works. You're like, okay,
and
well,
I get that they're going to have a different feeling each year that they're looking at it, and that kind of keeps it interesting, because then you just can't go, okay, I do this, and I automatically win. It keeps it competitive and unique. Plus, it opens the door for people to do something different, because you're like, oh, as there's no true formula, so you have to at least try to stand out, and then that really forces like amazing entries. But that's like GBWC as a whole. The North American sector, though, in the last 2 years, I don't know if they're on their own in terms of like what they want to put in to the competition in the worldwide, in the world scale, in terms of like, okay, this is what we're representing our country to send to Japan and stuff like that, because they're making even less sense. GBWC as a whole, like if you go to like Indonesia, China, and you look at some of those, you're like, okay, that makes sense. I can see why that won. It's great. Would I have pegged that from day one? Probably not. But seeing the table, it makes sense that one took the lead. But in the US, you're like, okay, I see all the entries, and you've got like skillful people, like people like Tim that have been in this competition since day one. They create amazing pieces of art. They have great stories. They've done this GBWC for a while, so they know the formula. They at least know A, B. They may not know D and C to get the rest of the way, but like, all right, I can get my foot in the door and definitely be top 3. And none of them win. None of them stand a chance. And in Canada now, in recent year too, like Canada's like, we had Aki, you had Ryan, you had all these other guys, and just like they were just glossed over.
So in Canada,
I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. I'm like, what's the, why are we different in that regard? Like, we're not even making any sense by what we're choosing. The rest of the world does make sense, China and all those guys. Like, okay, yeah, they're still doing GBWC. North America is like, we're not doing GBWC, we're doing Bandai Namco.
Hang on,
some
Jeff.
weird.
What were you going to say, Jeff?
In Canada, the people running the GBWC things don't have final say. They video conference with Kawaguchi. And then they show him photos, and then he decides.
That is a lot of what it ends up being. Like,
is it like that in the North America sector as well?
Yeah.
Don't know.
Probably they do.
In the land of Canada,
they don't want to ship people over to Japan for the big show yet. So
that makes sense. The world's not open. Yeah. But if you look at who's winning, though, like I don't even know if they're showing the results the same way they've done in this past year. Because like in the US, we haven't actually had a true GBWC. They've had like Bandai Open or they've had those ones, and I don't know. Dare I say and call me a conspiracist, but I feel like if Kawaguchi's getting final say, almost like he's like, fuck you. I don't want your best to show up. I don't want to give credence to the West and think that they can stand proud with the rest of us. So I'm gonna pick whatever seems decent and whatever, and just get down there, rather than actually picking some of the more competitive entries that would stand neck and neck with the winners of China and Singapore and all that. I don't know, far-fetched, but because in the past we've had super competitive entries represent North America and Canada. I mean, look at Ryan Lau, Tim. It's just like, wow, these stand proud against their compatriots. Now you're like, no offense to the winners, but I'm like, this isn't the same caliber. What the hell? Knowing full well there were entries that could stand on the same table and go, oh wow, this is an impressive lineup. So I don't know. Food for thought.
Yeah. So I have the Sentinel, right? The Sentinel's big. Yeah. It's really complicated, but it looks really good, and I know how to present it really well. I've made it so that it just fits within the parameters, like 55 centimeters cubed. I think it is something like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
And 19 by 19.
Yeah. So it is like pushing it at 19 with the gun and all the backpack and all the shit. So if they ever start to host in-person shows again, I will probably finish that in regards to that event.
That's the thing. I want in-show. I don't want online, because part of the reason why I like being at these events is showing my stuff in person, talking to other people, seeing their stuff in person. Yeah. Like online, that's okay, cool. You win a trophy, but I don't know. Plus, I'm a horrible photographer. Let's be honest. I'll put myself at a disadvantage. But it doesn't have the same flair as going to an event and turning in your entry and then seeing other people's work and stuff like that in tandem with yours. I would much prefer that. And I'm with Brian. Like the moment they open it up, because I think this year they are going to be doing it at Hobbytown USA throughout the US. I mean, they've kind of worked the deal from a couple years ago, and I think they're carrying it over now. And they're not doing conventions anymore, from what I've heard. They're going to be doing it exclusively at Hobbytowns, which
that's going to be weird for New York, because there aren't Hobbytowns in New York.
Right. I was going to say, didn't they do that somewhat a couple of years ago? Like not the New York one, but like Texas or something did Hobbytown. And
well, they did New Jersey
most of everywhere outside of the major hubs, so like Anime Expo and stuff in New York, stuff that
Comic-Con or
held,
NYC,
they still handled those, and then everyone in between, so like Texas, Indiana, parts of Illinois and stuff that, like, because we didn't have ASIN, we did them at Hobbytowns, and then they grouped all those entries in and then made that the representative for Hobbytown, and then that competed against the people who won at the conventions, and then 1 through 10 were picked. But I think if it's not a Hobbytown, it would be some other store that would represent. I don't know if they're doing conventions. I think they're leaning away from mass things in the US because of just the climate of things. So I honestly don't know, but I know a lot of Hobbytowns will be hosting this year.
That's cool. I should look into it. Maybe the one in Tom's River is going to. Doku, you want to drive? You and Derek want to drive down to Tom's River with me? Go to Gundam show. Go poke fun at people. Just kidding.
I'll be right
back. I actually met up with Alicia and Derek down in outside New Jersey or outside Philadelphia for dinner and like an awesome afternoon of hanging out at the hobby shop while Derek fucking rocked some wins. It's to me a 4x4 kicking ass. It was awesome. It was a great afternoon. But we talked a lot about this great idea that I have, or not I had, damn it. She had. Doku had, not me. No. I think it's a great idea though. So I'm promoting the shit out of it. I promise to not take ownership for it. Even if I misspeak like that and say it was my idea, it's not mine. I'll be able to correct myself and be like, I'm wrong and it's not my idea. The idea is to get a booth at the MosquitoCon and use that as an outreach platform to talk to people about the hobby, about Gundam as a modeling hobby, and to, I don't know, potentially move built kits or, like a finished kits or unbuilt kits or whatever to lies, she said. Yeah, to do some, outreach and have like a platform to talk to people. So I'm going to look into that. Because I think I could probably swindle that. Get some built sideways business cards too to sling out. I gotta order those stickers. I haven't yet done it because that's just how life goes sometimes, right? I remember what happened. I was going to do it, and then both of my coworkers got COVID, and I had to cover everybody's shifts for an entire week. That's what happened, right?
Yeah, you'd be busy.
Yeah, it was fun. Hey, that was done. I just got to remember my memory to do that. So, working on the DeLorean, I haven't done very much to it. I primed some parts. Did I do anything fun to it? No, I just started painting shit. I did get oh my god, the coolant exhausts on the back of the DeLorean. There's like aluminum boxes and they have like the grid that goes into them. Mm-hmm. Well, the way that the Aoshima kit comes, those are clamshelled together, which makes in that opening, there's a seam on the top and the bottom, which is hidden by the vertical fin of the grid, which is great, right? But there's a seam that runs around the whole entirety of the thing. So these long surfaces, let me grab one real quick. There's a seam that runs right down the center of that, and then down this, and then on the underside too, under here. You may even still kind of be able to see it under there. That's really was a make it so bigger. There we go.
Make it bigger.
But you can see it on the inside there, right?
On the inside,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's how strong that seam was all the way around. That much of an indent. So yeah. Glued those together. Lots of finish. This is just that Moto stainless steel, which looks really a lot like raw aluminum from distance.
Mm-hmm.
Their aluminum I think this was steel. Their aluminum looks pretty good too. I had to go over. So this is the Porsche. Here's the underside of the Porsche. That's how nice that green looked. This is actually kind of a washy. I did another version on the body of the Porsche that was a little bit darker. So, but that's kind of like the idea of that pearl green. It looks really nice. On the engine here, this was all done in that regular silver, and then this was done in aluminum. But I had to go over it with the MMP's acrylic flat aluminum to give it a differentiation. It looked too much like the steel. So this is the steel, and then it was aluminum, so I painted over this to make it brighter, a little more pop out. I'm going to AAA this weekend. I'm going to get some panel liner. I have never had panel liner. How about that?
Really? How have you been doing?
Everything's done with oil paints, man. I'm a traditionalist. I learned it. I went to art school.
I guess that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah. So
that is my least favorite part about assembling a model is panel liner. I fucking hate. I don't know why it's just so messy for me.
I was talking about going to Hobbytown when GVWC happens. So I think that kind of gets slipped through the cracks on that. No, the SCGMC meeting, or not SCGMC, damn it. The MFCA meeting is this weekend. The Miniature Figure Collectors of America meeting is Sunday. But if you guys want to come down, it's on Sunday. You're welcome to come to the meeting. You could sign up and join the club if you want to. I think it's
Ryan,
like
20. To
I think it's like 25
Chicago
in MMSI. I don't know if I can do that. I'm
taking a painter's class.
Nice.
So they're doing a painter's class, and I decided to enroll. So I'm going to be there for Thursday and Friday.
Fantastic.
As well as Saturday. So I'm like, all right, I got a whole weekend in Schaumburg and Shamalama.
Who's the host? Who's the host of the
Jim? Jim's the host.
Oh, nice. Jim's so good.
He's the speaker.
So here's the thing about Jim and all of these freaking guys that I ended up meeting and hanging out with, and now can kind of consider contemporaries in a way. I bought some shit from Jim and had a long ass conversation with him about all sorts of stuff before I knew who he was. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, and here's the like, oh shit, like wow. Or like I was
no, your voice sounded familiar.
yeah. Well, yeah, no, but he was just like a really cool guy, and we were just like artists talking about art shit, making cool robots and painting cool little things, and about dynamicism, whatever, just stuff people talk about. We all talk about. And same deal with Michael Blank also. Sat through his with I was hanging out with Floyd. If you guys know Floyd Bazin, fantastic guy, Long Island artist. He's back into it. Thank God he's back into painting again. And with Mike Hillary. And Floyd introduced me to Mike Hillary, and we hit it off famously, and we were drinking tons of bourbons and having a great time. And then we hung out the whole next day, and we sat through Mike Blank's seminar. And then I'm just like chilling in the afternoon by myself, kind of like, scrolling through Twitter, looking at cool shit and drinking a beer in the bar. And Mike Blank sits down next to me, and he's sitting there for like probably like 15 minutes. It seemed like 15 minutes, probably more like 5 minutes while he's waiting for the bartender to get over to give him a water or whatever he needed, something simple. And I'm just sitting there mindlessly scrolling through shit and look over, and it's like, oh shit, here's the, wildly talented, accoladed artist with accolades sitting next to me at the bar, just chilling, and then struck a conversation, had a nice conversation. It's fantastic.
Yeah. You always have to remember these are people, regular people. As amazingly talented as they are, they're still everyday people. So, they're not as godly as we.
No, we're all just regular ass. Yeah. We're all just regular ass people.
Aren't we thinking of having Mike Parks? Not Mike Parks.
Hillary. Want?
Yeah, Mike Hillary online. I'd like to pick his brain because, as you know, I want to get more proficient at figure painting, and
I really want to talk to him about process.
Yeah, I'm a visceral learner, which is why I'm glad I enrolled myself in this class, because I feel like I'm gonna finally be able to connect some dots that I've been having a tough time piecing together on my own. So this will actually be able to, like, hands-on. No, you're doing it wrong. Do it this way. I'm like, oh my god, like it's gonna be a revolution.
Yeah, it's gonna be nice. Me and Floyd and Mike are supposed to meet up. We were already supposed to have met up in early July to have a hangout painting session, and it just keeps falling through. Life keeps getting in the way. That's the problem with being adults and having responsibilities and shit.
That's what I want to do. I want to be more entwined with, like, get together, learn sesh kind of things. Like, I know we do it online, but it doesn't have the same, like, impact as being in the room together and, like, breathing the same air and just osmosis of it all. And I feel like that really kind of I excel in those environments more so than I do just, I've been looking at this person's page, reading their tutorials, and I'm a master now. Like, it doesn't click the same way for me particularly. So, like, I miss situations like that because I always just being in that collective environment with people that know things that I don't know, and I know things they don't know. We all, like, just the merger of, like, our brains are all sharing, and getting information wirelessly.
Like, in this class, you're gonna, like, you've signed up for this class that Jim's gonna host, and all the talking about it. Oh wait, which Jim is hosting it? Jim from
not Jim from Small Subjects.
Okay,
no, it's a different Jim.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Just wanted to make sure we were talking about the same guy, because I realized at the last second while I was saying that Jim and Barry from Small Subject, there's a Jim in there as well.
Yeah. Now this one's from he's a military miniature scale modelist. Yeah.
This is sorts of stuff though. He was painting those the, like, as Isaac Asimov mecha human interaction pieces as well, I believe.
I don't know.
GM says Doku. GM what? But yeah, so I was saying for you, Kyle, when you're going into that class, is you're going to be in there, and you're going to think up questions or that you want to have answered. And even if you're dealing with somebody in one-on-one situation, you're only going to be able to come up with so many questions, and having all of that pool of people around to talk and ask questions will help. It helps more questions be formed. It helps to further the dialogue. That's still one of the most important things about having those, like, group sessions.
Oh yeah, well, there's going to be a lot of guys there. So, and we're going to be there for two days, so 16 hours total, and we're going to be painting busts. And Jim Rice. That's who it is, by the way. Jim Rice.
Yeah.
And yeah, like just I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be the new kid on the block with little to no experience. They're all gonna just this is what I love about MMSI and MCFG, right?
MFCA.
MFCA. So what I love about those guys that I haven't really experienced with other modeling communities is these guys like know you don't know anything, and rather than going like, oh fuck this new guy, they swarm you like, here, I have so much knowledge, take this. Like they're just
right.
they're dying
You
to
can
pass
you
on
can
what
be
they
good
know.
too.
They look,
Like, yeah.
yes, I want to make you
Smothered.
here, see, I made this. You want to make this? Here, I teach you. Like they're just and they're ecstatic about it. Like I sat through one of the courses with what's his name, Mario something. He's from Italy, I don't know, Spain, I can't remember. And he was teaching, just kind of showing his process of doing lightings and stuff on a small little figurehead. And like, so I asked him some questions of that, and I was talking about some things. He's like, no, don't worry about competition, do this for fun, I show you. And he's like just like super ecstatic about it. He's like, and he's going into details. I'm like, yes, please let me. But the glory is this time around, rather than just watching someone do it, I can do it myself, and then it will make more sense.
Is it like everybody gets you're all using the same figure?
Yes. So we're all gonna have our own. We're gonna have our same figure. The only thing we have to supply is brushes. They'll bring the paint. Also a wet palette.
What are they gonna use, man? Oh, dude, are you gonna be rocking scale 75s? I think you're probably going to be painting with scale 75s. I feel like that's what's going to be going down.
Yeah, let me look. Because
Jim,
I know
Jim was selling a bunch of that figures.
They posted.
I should have bought more stuff from him. He's such a cool guy too.
I remember. Okay, so we're going to be painting. Well, I'm assuming we might be painting this thing, because this is what they have on the advert. Oh wow,
it's like a Napoleonic bust.
Yeah, like a
it doesn't want to
guy.
Pirate?
Yeah. No, it's like kind of like a pirate guy.
Oh, okay.
Prepped, mounted, and primed figure. Paints and mediums will be provided. The only thing you have to do is bring your brushes and a wet palette, or however you choose to hold the paint.
Do your thing. Nice.
Yep.
Nice. What kind of brushes are you bringing, Kyle?
I've got some some brushes that I bought at the thing that are pretty good. Let's see, I've got a 2, a 0, 6.
All tapered.
Yeah.
Bristle style.
I've got a couple other ones too that see. I have a round 4, and then a 2 round.
Is it stubby, or is it kind of? Is it stubby, or is it long?
They're kind of long. Got a little bit of a point to them, and then there's like a smaller. Let me take them out of the plastic so they're easier to see.
I like my main girl. We'll call it a brush. I'm gonna wet this in my tongue like a real painter does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really, really long.
Pointy ones. Oh yeah, that's how my my number 6 is. It's like super long.
Right. I mean, it's not very big, right? So as you can see, my gigantic clod hopping fucking hands and this paintbrush.
I use this one a lot.
As big as your head, man.
Because I can like spread it across the piece, and then or I can just find tip things too. Like it's got a nice point to it. That's the one I use a lot for most of my projects. But I'm gonna bring all of these because I feel like I can learn to use my brushes better, because I don't feel like I have a good.
I don't know.
Just use one and then not really get any skill from learning the other brushes have purpose and importance behind them as well. So I'll bring all these bad boys. I've got my.
Better to bring a handful and not need them than.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I got this.
Bring 2 or 3 and need more.
I got this Winsor & Newton Series 7 number 2, which is just hermetically sealed in the tube still. I haven't opened it up yet, but this one is, in theory, this is the
gold standard.
Yeah, this is like the finest quality. This is like a $20 brush.
Selensky, or whatever they call that hairstyle.
I also have this freaking Artificer from Citadel.
Yeah, I have a couple Citadel brushes. They're nice.
This is XS. So it is
Ooh, tiny.
really. It's for dot and eyeballs.
Get that pupil in there, that iris. Yeah, I definitely want to get more into that. So I have a couple of projects I need to finish ahead of MMSI. One being my Cerulean project, which is the one I spoke of earlier. The other one being Oscar. So that'll be the figure I want to introduce. Cool. And then maybe I'll do Unit 2. So this guy, the Berserk Unit 2.
Oh,
I've got the Volks, quarter scale, or not quarter scale, 7 scale Oscar. I've been prepping parts for this for months. You know, I've got all the clear parts that I've sanded down to 8,000 grit, like super polished. Which I'm like, at this point, is paint going to adhere to it if it's that polished? Kind of thought about it.
That's this grit.
Only if it's humid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I'm over there wet sanding and just going in there getting, and I'm like looking in the light, seeing nope, scratch stiller. Let's bring it back, and then let's come back to that finer grit. So I've only got like one piece. I still got to sand. I still got to sand this down. You can still see some of the yellowing that's from it. Yeah, when I'm done with that, a lot of that's going to be gone. I think I've got this to 200 grit, but like you can kind of see some of the cast mold. I'm not sure. Let's see if I can.
Some of the
the roughness from the mold.
Yeah, mold texture from got you.
Yeah, so that's a lot of what I'm knocking down first, and then I'm getting rid of all the scuffs from the
got to go here, Kyle.
4K, 14K,
14K.
What, like, at one point you're like, okay, am I like, I don't need to like blind people in the
when I made the when I made the Malawan,
your cornea.
Yeah, it's for making things clear. Honestly, for painting, I use it for doing all the way up to doing canopy stuff. So, but when I first got it and used it, I used it on the Malawan, Borderlands submachine gun bust, bust buck, the big blank that I made the mold out of. And I did all this filler work on it because I was like trying to figure out, trying to wrap my head around not just doing the, taking the video game thing, drawing full size plans of it, and then taking those full size plans and then making that into a reality thing. And then wrapping my head around the weird geometry, because that whole thing is like a weird car sort of dilly. Anyhow, I polish it to that level. Silicone mold makes a perfect representation of it. I would make plastic copies of that, right? And the plastic copies were so smooth and shiny, just from like not even mold release, you could clean them, but if they were so smooth and shiny that the paint wouldn't stick to them. So you had to rough it up,
scuff it up, get paint to adhere,
just to stick to it. So
early paint.
You do some ridiculous shit. Just saying.
Okay, make me big, Brian.
Can do.
Yes.
Make them bigger.
Head explode.
Dies the head in the CAD. Ooh. So like the next step is going to be cleaning it up and painting it, right? But I'm like playing with what would it be like, if what happened there? No, I clicked.
Made a bunch of things transparent.
There. If you do the upper torso.
It's like, what if I did that? Wouldn't that be cool? And then, so I found this software called Luban, if I can find it. And what it'll do is, I don't know if you can see it, but on the left-hand side,
in the background,
on the left-hand side, you can put in the dimensions of your print volume and give it a giant model and say, chop it into printable parts. And it did. Right? Here's the torso.
Right.
Yeah.
Ooh. Then it made it into like, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
24 parts.
I was gonna say like 20 something parts. Okay.
And it gives you an estimate of the amount of filament you need, and it's 24 kilograms. I was just like, what?
Oh my god!
For just the frame.
For just the frame.
Shit. And think how much is a roll? Because so you get in 1 kilogram rolls, or
yeah. So I have the great honor of living in Canada, which means I get farked on everything. It comes out to 35 US a roll. Oof. It's like $1 million a roll Canadian. So
I must say, $35 $35 a roll. It's like, okay, that's on the more expensive side for most rolls, but that's not. And then I was like, wait a minute, we gotta convert that to Canadian. That's where it's going to be like 120 a roll.
You got to ship it, and then I have to pay the customs, and then I got to pay the custom broker, and it's over 45 Canadian a roll.
Oh my god!
You think
the U.S.
What's that?
Why haven't we gotten into Canadian filament selling?
Well,
there
the
are
funny thing is,
Canadian
probably
there
not
are
coming from the
Canadian
US.
companies that make and sell it online. But because the market's so small, right? We're 1/10 the size of you guys, right? So there's no economies of scale. So definitely it's a bit cheaper than the US, but not much.
Gotcha.
Anyway, so let's go back to here. So obviously that's kind of out of the question. So I was like, well, what could I do? I wonder if maybe there was a point somewhere here that I could chop it off and do something with that, right?
Yeah, make it like one of the big
like
busts.
that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, maybe that would work, right?
Yeah.
And then I got to turn all this stuff back on.
Yeah, how much of the armor were you going to keep? Okay. Seems like a good break point.
That's about it, right?
Uh-huh.
It's only showing half of it, right?
Right, yeah.
And then, maybe if I get a big bonus this year, I usually get a big bonus for my work, right? I could do the backpack too.
Oh.
That's going to be so big.
This will not fit on top of my spray booth, which is where it's sitting right now.
Right. Yeah, I was going to say, brother, that thing is going to be...
Yeah.
I don't think you need to 3D print the beam sabers. You could just go get those movie-sized lightsaber handles and just stick them
go to Disney, Disney, and just pick up this.
And then
if you scale it down to one, like 16 scale, then you can have the whole torso.
Oh, sure. Tell me that now. I've already printed the head.
Just
thanks a lot.
Just
1/16 scale, he would have made the whole thing.
Yeah. I think it's more bite size.
Turn on some more waste here. So this is just for fun, right? But so I've scaled all these parts. These are all 1/6 size parts. I haven't done any kind of calculation of how any of this would, how much it would cost to make them, and I probably don't want to know.
Right.
Oh my God, where's the leg?
My Lord.
Oh my God. Just thinking of the parts.
So the leg itself is
legs
easily what, 8 no, because you said it's how tall? 12 meters? So it's like what?
Well, 4 meters. 4 meters.
4 meters.
12 feet tall.
12 feet, 4 meters. So that's gonna be like what the leg is gonna be a good 6 or 7 feet tall, right?
Yeah.
Because the legs are so much longer than the torso.
You'd have to have a structural inner frame inside all the printed parts for sure, right? You'd probably,
sketch 40 and some quick rail, baby.
You'd have to hire a structural engineer or something.
Just do some sketch 40 and some threaded ends and some threaded pipe fittings. You just
some black iron in there, just
and then exactly.
You just put
black pipe. Call it a day.
Yeah. You get away with 3-inch black pipe. Totally.
You'd have to be really concerned about weight distribution at that point too, because obviously something like that large, it's a little bit
anchored.
If it's a little bit back heavy or something,
So you're
it's a pretty big issue.
Well, sort of. What you do is you figure out where you're going to put it, and then you pour gigantic footings in the ground.
Yeah, I was just going to say that.
Some rebar sticking up to catch it, some anchor bolts.
Not even. I'm saying that's those 3-inch round tube, that black pipe, straight into the ground. With concrete, footings.
Well, it's PLA, so it's not going to survive outside.
Oh no, it would.
A little hot day, and then things gonna be just
saggy. It would get brittle in a second from the UV.
If it was ABS, it would probably be okay.
Oh, what do we got?
Yeah,
Thomas Sutton says
Kotobondo would protect it. It'd be fine, you know.
There we go. Thomas Sutton is asking, since there is a 3D printer person here, that would be you, Jeff. I'll circle back to the question that he asked last week. What do I need to set a 3D printer for one? Oh yeah, he's looking to try to for scaling. Like he's asking questions and probably on how to scale to make 144 scale parts. So it depends on a lot of
if you know what, like if you have the parts, like what I have, right? The model that I have is 1/100, right? And I wanted to convert it to 1/6, and I'll have to find the website again. There's a website.
Oh,
I won't be able to find it right now, but I can find it and give it to you, Brian.
Sure.
You basically put in, what's the scale now? What's the scale you want? And it gives you a multiplier. And then when you go into Mesh Mixer to transform, to resize it, right, you just enter the multiplier. For this one, the multipliers, and I've done it with 100 parts now, so I'm never going to forget it. It's 16.667 times the original size.
Right.
So I guess the kicker is just knowing the original scale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can bring it into like programs like Fusion 360 and then measure the part to know what it dimensionally is, to then kind of set a baseline, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can roughly figure out the scale, right? Because like you go based on Grandpa, right? Grandpa's 18 meters high, so at 1/100th, it's 18 centimeters high. So you should be able to guess things off of things like that.
Right.
And you can get stats for any suit on how tall they are.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I do.
A little easier that in like 1/144 is a completely common scale that all Gunpla is built in. Like, it's not like you're trying to upsize it to like you with 1/6. It's not like you can go to the.
Well, it depends what scale your source model is, right?
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, would it not be easier to find a source model in 1/144?
Oh yeah, probably for sure. Like really, you're going to find a 1/144, 1/100, or 160.
Right.
Yeah.
What do you mean I can't go to my local hobby store and get a 1/6 unicorn?
You can.
Nope.
Only in Canada.
Mega size.
What the hell is this world coming to?
It's ultra mega size.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to find many 172 3D models.
Yeah, not even. At Jeff's old model shop in the basement.
Yeah. It's
You
the
buy
size
the
of like a
filament,
mall.
he'll print it out.
A little bit of lead time, but
it's like going into a showroom for cars.
it's
We have 5 in
fancy.
stock.
Oh yeah, you posted that. I forgot you posted the rendered drawing for that in the Discord.
Yeah, like just every time I finish a bit, like I finish the leg frames and I posted a render. And I did that's all the leg armor. Actually,
I see it that way.
Go back to the design mode here. You see these flaps sticking out here? Make it bigger. That's unchained.
I gotcha.
So this and like the section in the model manual to make unchained mode is like 2 panels. Flip this sucker up and pop those little legs out. And hello.
Bye.
I've lost control.
Is that what 1/6 scale looks like compared to a 1:1 scale?
Okay. There's actually cycle frame parts that attach on here.
Okay.
But I'm not a Fusion 360 expert enough to do a joint where a peg goes through a hole.
Oh, okay.
Apparently it's tricky.
Okay.
You got me.
I can imagine. Yeah.
Like these parts are easy, right? Because it's a peg going into a hole. A flat side against the flat side. So I just say, hey, let's make a joint and put this flat side against that flat side, and it just magically works.
Yeah, you get a mating surface.
Yeah. It's interesting. This, like the regular unicorn, underneath, this big flap in the back of the leg, in the model kits, there's a thruster here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No thruster in this
Oh,
model.
he didn't model it. Oh,
No.
interesting.
Just a curiosity, I guess.
Hmm.
Yeah. So that's all the CAD file I had to show.
That's pretty freaking sweet, though.
1/6 scale. What do you just go get like a giant lampshade or something and shove it up there?
You just go to IKEA, get one of the overhead lights. Bam, thruster. That's being resourceful. Fits perfect too.
Yeah, I don't know exactly how big
metal
they
parts.
would be. I have one on the back. I have 2 on the backpack. They're smaller than the head. No problem.
Yeah,
sure.
That's just a cup with the bottom cut out and turned into a cone. You're good.
Yeah. Oh, and got some Tervis tumblers there for the.
Yeah. All right, here. Type Furious Rick is fucking being hilarious. So, Thomas Satin, dude, just what he does: just print a piece, realize it's not the right size, scale it, print it, smile you got it right, and then wonder what you're gonna do with the other 6 pieces he did wrong.
Exactly.
And
what do you think I've been doing?
Buy lots of material because you're gonna go through it.
And the follow-up, which I think resonates with you, Jeff, or like my Mechagodzilla, I still haven't finished putting it together, realize it's much bigger than you thought it was going to be, but you've already printed too many pieces, so you just keep going. Seems about right.
Well, the big challenge with this is tolerances, right? Because, when Rocky makes his model for 1/100, right, he puts tolerances in the pegs and the holes for, little small parts going together. When you blow it up 16.667 times,
that's a lot of slop.
You got a lot of slop.
Stick your pinky in there.
Yeah, like a
Almost.
0.5 millimeter.
Wedge it in there for some firm fit.
Yeah, 0.5 millimeter turns into 1/8 of an inch real quick.
Yeah,
and you can't just coat it in a little super glue.
Nail polish. Yeah, we're good.
The super glue trick doesn't work, does it?
Stiffen those joints.
Well, I mean, some of the joints on the head, some of them are a little tight, some of them are really loose, but cement, something epoxy, right? It will just solve that. The parts for the neck, like the ring on the orange ring on the neck I showed you, and the actual neck stand thing, they have to fit real good. And you want to be able to take it off, turn it, right? So there was a lot of test prints to get those 2 parts to fit well.
Sure.
Oh, and the time it takes for that to realize you got it wrong. Like, damn it, I'm off by like just fucking 30 seconds. No.
Well, you get one, right? You get one part of it that you like, and then you just make sure that that's the other part. So at least you don't have to recast or reprint pairs. You have to only reprint one part until it fits right.
So yeah, because one's just like the baseline set in stone, and then the other one you adjust. And
we could be like, oh, I'm just gonna put a fucking bushing in here.
That orange part, right? Alone, it's like a 9-hour print.
Oh yeah, I bet.
So, but you only print like the first 2 centimeters, and it's a 2-hour print, and you can test fit with that.
Oh, okay, just
and then when you're happy, you print the whole thing.
See, that's the idea better about, because I went through so many of these. I have some failed ones too that I didn't even pull because I had my settings wrong about my supports. So I was like, that's a fucking waste to print. And each of these was 4 hours. Just to, nope, I got to make this slightly bigger because it's too much of a tight fit. So I wanted some friction to it because it's like a slide piece that goes into it. So essentially it's the outer half and the inner half, and then they slide into one another. And so I was like, well, 1/4 millimeter is not enough to keep this from binding. So now I got to go another, okay, now 0.5 millimeters, okay, now that's perfect because I'm getting bowing and other little things that are playing into it, and my printer's not perfectly set up to have a super on point tolerance. So I like, okay, 4 hours. I don't know until I pull it off because it's the interior piece. So yeah, I have to start trying to do that, Jeff, and print out sections of it to test those parts, and then once I'm good, close the loop with everything else.
Yeah, Brandon, that was Hi Craig. Yeah. So I think he's still doing his thing. He's not hanging out in the modeling community too much, but I think he's still working. So and
he's been on he pops by streams every once in a while.
Yep. Occasionally he will stop and say what's up.
Yeah. It's H.I. Craig, like that kind of.
Yeah,
I agree.
Like hello.
Yep.
Yeah,
like,
Kyle.
you know,
Usually you can chop the model up in the slicer and just print what you need to test your tolerance.
That's smart. I'm definitely going to start doing that now because I find myself R&Ding a lot of stuff now and just making knickknacks and stuff. It's like, oh, okay, I can make that for myself. Why not? And then I'm like, oh god, it's gonna take 9 hours. Well, let's put a little bit of buffer into that just to make sure that I get it right. And then I'm like, I'm just so fucking like, no, I don't want to sand that. So I was like, all right, let's print it again.
Yeah, I don't know if I mentioned it tonight already, but it's process knowledge. This is my new thing now. I mean, you know how your paints work, you know how your glues work, how your sandpapers work, but getting to a really cool finish, the process of using all those tools, right, is what you learn by trial and error. Right now, I'm just swimming around learning process knowledge for making these 3D prints. Things like those testing the tolerances prints and all that stuff.
It definitely comes from doing. You can't just have someone tell you, all right, I got it, and then you're like, no, you gotta have to go through. You gotta fail a bunch to make sense of how it's better to be done.
Yeah, I'm sure when it's done, someone's gonna just go, "Oh, you just printed that." Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, that irks me so much. You just plugged it in and printed. Like, no, dude, there was so much I had to figure out just to make it look like this, and it's not even perfect. I still gotta fix it after. There's still posts and cleanup and everything else. I'm like, we talked about that in the episode about IPMS guys want to look at 3D printed parts like it was a cheat. Like, there's work involved. Sometimes even more than a standard kit.
That episode hasn't been released yet, by the way. It releases in approximately 2 hours. 2 hours.
I got an IPMS story. I've mentioned it to you guys, to Brian and Paul and people on Alex's Discord, that every 2 years they have a big IPMS event at the Canadian War Museum. I think it's called CanCon. They only do it there every other year, right? Like they trade off. London, Ontario has a big con every other year, and then they do it here. But this is the first one since COVID. Their 3D print policy is fun. You can have as much 3D printed stuff as you want, as long as you designed it.
Cool. That's great.
Well,
I think that's
helps that I designed my kit, so we're good.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But no, I agree with that too. Unless it's like, well, I mean,
how do they
do you design a Revell kit? No.
Yeah, you still got to paint and process. I don't see how that like really negates that not being a model. Oh yeah, you printed it. Like I didn't print it painted. I didn't print it unprepped or like just like
I didn't sculpt the Bandai model either. I just assembled it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
See, that's the way I see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I could understand from a like a theft perspective. Like,
sure,
I didn't just reprint another person's. I don't know how to I just didn't take something, print it, and then make it as if it was original to me. But I don't see the difference between 3D printing a model and preparing it, painting it, bringing it to finish, or buying one out of a box, assembling it, and finishing it.
Yeah.
It's like, what's the difference?
If you were buying a figure that's already painted, that's a different story. But yeah, I'm with Paul. It's like you just gotta put work in. Regardless of
I certainly see like the kind of awe you're in of people who can like sculpt. Like you take like Gunpla, for instance, and someone does a bunch of detail parts where they actually like sculpt that out, and it's not just like a 3D printed little kind of tchotchke, almost like those HD Apex little packs that came, and they look like little things. You just glue them on, a panel to give it detail
parts and stuff like that.
Is obviously like the difference of skill level between me doing that versus actually, chiseling every little piece out of a flat piece of styrene. There's certainly a big difference in skill there.
Or whatever,
But I don't see how, like, Jeff, what you're doing. Like, let's just say theoretically, I could buy a 1/6 Gundam head. Why would me just buying one and painting it be less or more skill than you printing it and painting it.
True.
Putting it together and painting. It's the same deal.
Yeah.
You're actually doing more.
Right.
Actually, way more. Way more. Like,
yeah. And as nice.
I don't get it myself.
As nice about like a 3D printer as you can buy, it's still not a match for what someone like Bandai can produce. It's not even close.
Oh, yeah. Well, they have like $400,000 3D printers to do their prototypes, right?
Yeah. So I don't see,
Mine was just 5K.
Just a measly 5K, and that's just the machine that makes the stuff. Still got to make the stuff that you're going to use the machine for. So it's like,
that's right.
So much more to that process that people just don't consider when it comes to 3D printing. Yeah, I mean, like I said in the episode, like you can't just plug and play. Like, oh, I got a model I downloaded. Let's shoot it to the machine. You still got to calibrate it for that resin that you're using, and then work with the the layer heights and all that. And then maybe your system isn't calibrated correctly. You don't have it leveled, whatever the case may be. Or, there's so many trial and errors you have to go through before you can even get a perfect system. So yeah, you can get the file all day long, but you're not out of the woods. You just walked into the woods in terms of like what you need to accomplish to get anything remotely close to even getting ready for paint.
Kyle's first Oscar he printed looked like Chunk from the Goonies.
Oh yeah. Oh my god. I ended up throwing them away, but I had a graveyard of Oscars from all the failed prints because I was like one of the more the older 3D printers when the technology was just entering the market. So getting a hobby level printer was not going to be able to provide the quality I was looking for at the time. But yeah, oh my god. I learned so much about where you're supposed to place your model depending on the details. And I didn't have it in me to like cut the model into sections and make parts. So I was just like, I'm gonna print it all at once. Let's figure it out. Then he said, like, okay, put it on its head, do it this way, do that. What's the best way I can minimize cleanup and fuck up the hair and having failures? And oh my god.
Oh,
and I figured it out with this one, took 2 prints, and I had it figured. I was like, oh, Cole's years of creating different.
Oh yeah, I have a box full of rejected parts for that big Zaku.
Yeah, you sent me some.
Yeah,
I sent you some. I sent some to Mike Rinaldi there. I still have a ton.
I think I remember you came on the stream once, like as you were printing that, and I think you showed us a good handful of them.
Yep.
Yeah, I intend on. Actually, I think I'm going to use those parts.
I gave you my rejected shield, didn't I?
Yeah, even the rejected shield. So I'm going to use those and do some funky stuff with them to make the base for the Sentinel.
Nice.
It's like the perfect like platform from which to build upon. For something as large and imposing as the Sentinel.
Sweet.
Yeah, it's gonna be
large and in charge.
Should be fun.
I don't know. Looks like a mecha surfboard to me.
Kind of does.
Yep.
Yeah, it could be
or a mecha skateboard.
What's the other Bandai mecha thing? They have like surfboards in it. What the hell is what is that called?
Oh, yeah. I have the Nervash from it. It's from what is it?
That's gonna drive me nuts. I remember the main character's name is Renton. I just don't remember the name of the show.
Yeah, I just remember the kit.
Eureka 7.
There you go.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they had surfboards.
Coming in, yeah, fucking. I never watched that. I think I watched a couple episodes, never really got into it, but I was just like, why surfboards?
It's very similar to like Gundam, where sometimes like the tone of the show really changes, like after the first 10 or so episodes. Like the first 10, you're like, all right, like what, they're surfing, and then people start dying, and like, oh, okay.
Oh, I like that guy. Why did they kill him? Oh no. Oh, this is making me think.
Yeah,
they're interesting. I picked up one of the suits. It was random. They had it in the Bandai booth at one of the either Anime NYC or GBWC, not GBWC, damn it, or Comic-Con. One of the years, I think it was actually.
Yeah, they're cool looking.
Yeah, I've got to try and find it. I wonder if there's any. If it even still exists. I wonder what the fucking markup is on it now.
There's a follow-up series I've always meant to watch, but I just never got around to it.
Guys, should I get it? Should I just do it?
Yes.
What?
Okay.
Armored
Brian,
Core?
should I do it? Yeah.
I don't know. It's up to you, man. I'm not responsible for your problems. Or
I
your
really
bad
wish the
decisions.
weather was better because then I could have just. I was doing so good. I almost went an entire week with just doing nothing but modeling and not getting distracted and doing anything else. I spend 2 hours a day. I'm like, I'm gonna be disciplined. I'm gonna do shit instead of fucking around like I always do. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna accomplish this. And then all it takes is one. Everything always has to fucking get in the way. I have everything in my mind, but no, we're gonna get a humid ass week. Like the weeks leading up to this have been relatively warm, like 80s, but the humidity's been somewhat bearable. Here, it's like someone took a water gun with scalding water and just spraying everybody as they take some hot water. I'm like, what the fuck? Just walking outside. I'm reminded, I'm like, oh my God, this is like Florida. Why leave me alone? I don't live there anymore. And parts are like beating with condensation. I'm like, no, what the fuck is this? I close the window. I might have to do some work this weekend where I build myself some kind of cover plate to put in there so I can keep my hose out the window but not have
the window open,
the moisture. Yeah. So I can really kind of keep that heat at a bay. But yeah, it really kind of put a damper on me painting. So I'm like, sweatbox in here. This is not this. I don't want to have to just do all this work only to fucking strip it because it didn't work. I'm like,
it's got water bubbles in it.
I freaked out because I like to tend to have a little more thinner in my primer than probably recommended. And I like to do that wet coat, but I always like barely hit that layer of like, oh my God, it's gonna start spilling over. When you got a little bit too much moisture in the air, that's not a very good way to be handling things. So I'm looking at these parts going, that normally cures by now, because then the thinner evaporates at a certain point. But like, that's not evaporating. That's starting to run. Oh no! I mean, thankfully, none of the parts ended up actually running. But I was looking, and I was like, oh no! And that's when I thought to myself, we're testing fate here if we keep painting in these conditions.
Yeah, I remember the first time I flat coated something with rattle can spray, and it was summertime, and I did it outside because Brian, do you remember that? I had that picture, like, I mean, this is years ago, and it was like fogged, like it was completely white. It did not dry flat at all. It was like Mr. Clear, Mr. Super Clear. I can't remember what the hell I used to use at that point in the can.
That moisture,
it was so humid that
it just went crazy hazy.
It fogged, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it was like I sprayed glue on it.
What was that?
It was that white.
It's thick on there too. You're like, oh
like when
no.
When I sprayed GX gloss without putting any thinner in it, came out like spider webs.
Nope.
Yeah, so I'm kind of off to my own devices, and that video game's right there looking at me in the face, and I'm like, oh, don't do it, Kyle, don't do it. You're gonna get to the boss. Yeah, you're gonna get because my wife's been playing the PlayStation. She stopped playing Hogwarts long enough for me to be able to beat Bloodborne, and now it's hers again. Now that I platinumed it and everything, I was like, all right, here, take it. She's gonna 100. She's in the process of 100%ing the game, and she's already decided she's gonna play again as a different like house. Yeah. I'm like, it wouldn't after 100%, like, kind of done it. Like for me, once I 100% the game, I'm okay. That's it.
Yeah,
I've accomplished all I desire.
It's a different
the replayability goes out.
Didn't they? They added quite a bit to it, didn't they? With some of the DLCs.
I don't know.
I know. I played it when it first came out, and then that was
really
short-lived.
Like she comes to me for me to beat the Quidditch stuff and then some of the other mini games, and then she plays the rest of it. You know, my only time of playing it was the 2 hours I started the game and I was like, I bought this for you. You play it. I want to play this game. And then she finally picked it up and like realized that she could play the game. So she's like, oh yeah, cool. We'll do that. And then she occasionally, here, I need help with this one. Can you beat this for me? I'll come in. I go, okay. Yeah,
Nice.
that's the amount. So I honestly don't know if they've updated the game or not, but yeah, she's already got it planned and she's going to be a Hufflepuff so she can go to Azkaban. I'm like, cool.
Nice.
Tell me how that goes.
Sweet. Yeah, that's cool.
Hufflepuffs go to Azkaban?
Yeah, oddly enough, they get a special quest that goes to Azkaban. Nobody else goes to. I'm like, that's the only reason people play for the house. You know that, right? Nobody would be a Hufflepuff.
Hufflepuffs, I was a Hufflepuffs are like the soft ones, aren't they?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, apparently they're hardened criminals and nobody suspected it. They had us all fooled.
What?
Yeah. Good name to choose for a hardened criminal, the Hufflepuff.
They'll
they
never
probably gotta
look at
go
those
like
Slytherins.
Probably got to go to like rescue somebody that was wrongly imprisoned or some shit,
Yeah, some innocent bullshit. Who knows?
Yeah.
I'll get it for the PC, but I really shouldn't be playing video games. I mean, I have time.
I wish
it hasn't be done until October, but
I wonder if they'll have PvP cross-platform between PC and Xbox like they do for other things, where they allow PC and Xbox crossplay through. Once you get it on Steam,
I don't know,
getting it on the
because
store.
with Steam, it's different because Steam doesn't have.
Yeah, now with Steam, you'd have to probably get it through the store.
Microsoft's. I don't know.
The thing is, though, like, what can you get it off of? Like any other, like Xbox?
I was just gonna say I was looking at it up early.
Actually, you know what? Hang on, let me look on my computer. I have Xbox right on my computer. So
I answer that question right now.
Yep. I sleep earlier, so I was gonna wake up.
This is another thing that grinds my gears since Rick brought up my anger issues. Is cross-platform. Come on, in this day and age, that shouldn't be a problem. Like,
no,
all these fucking,
especially if it's not an exclusive. Obviously, if it's an exclusive, but
yeah, exactly. Non-exclusives. It should just be no excuse why you cannot integrate cross-platform mechanics amongst all the different systems. It's because they all don't want to fucking do that. Oh, I want you to buy my shit. I can get it on any console. Why would I buy your shit for this one game? It's the exclusive that they bring you in. So then why would you hold me back from being able to play with my friends that have different systems? Like, come on. Unified world. This is how we get rid of racism, by integrating cross platforms amongst all the systems. Once we cross that bridge, we know we're going to conquer acceptance of all religion, race, and creeds. That's when we know we're taking steps forward. So I need these developers to get on the same page so we can unify as a people. I'm not seeing it on the main page.
It's not there. No, they have Exo Primal. I can get that on my laptop.
Yeah, I have it on my computer. That's how we've been playing.
I can get freaking Forza. Oh, right, of course, because that's what we play.
Yeah. Remember, I don't have no Xbox.
I know, but you have it though. Yeah, I know. But I just didn't know if they had this on here or not. They don't.
Oh yeah. They don't. I'm not seeing it. I would have thought they would be fucking.
I think
right across the screen.
I think I looked. Yeah, they would if they had it. What did I play? Was it Forza? Yeah, I played Forza Horizon 4 the other day.
Oh,
for a couple of hours. It's interesting.
Car Mechanic Simulator 2021.
Oh boy, changing oil.
Yeah, is there like a bust your knuckle mechanic? Like if you don't press the thing fast enough,
they have the one where you're like a landscaper. I was like, I don't.
Oh, they have so many
mowing the one in real life. Why do I want to do it in a game?
Power washing.
Yeah, the power washing simulator. They have all kinds of simulators now.
My son has Job Simulator for his VR. I'm like, this is fucking horrible. Can I have Vacation Simulator?
Yeah, that's weird. That's like them training him to be complacent and shit. Like,
yeah,
like
he's like, Dad, I work at a convenience store and I sell people drinks. I'm like, why? What? I don't.
Do you guys remember I showed you that one? It was the Phil Hartman game. The guys who made Rick and Morty. They made a game on the VR. It's like shit. What's it called? It's fucking hilarious.
I'm going to share this link on the screen here real quick because I think that some of the chat can potentially get lost in rewatching it. So now it's hardlined into the video, so people can look at this, pause it, and write it down. Go look it up.
Bazinga.
And Thomas Staten says thank you, which I'm sure you can. You're probably on.
Always.
Platform.
They
nice.
no cross. I'm actually looking at no cross platform currently on Armored Core.
Yeah.
What did Pabs and Julio get it for? Did they all get it for PC or?
Yeah, they got it for the PC.
Oh, okay.
Well, I don't know if Julio got it for the PC. I know Pabs did. I see it on his Steam. I know he has it.
Yeah, Pabsy was playing it earlier. Julio.
Yeah, look at that red sun right there. R3D5UNZ. In fact, I wonder if he's playing it. Probably
he
not.
has it on console. Julio does.
It's on console. Oh yeah,
Xbox.
Julio's on console.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, which is tight because I have console too, so I can play Julio once I get it.
He has played 0.6 hours. I don't think he's online though.
I'll obviously that I love the Armored Core series games. I'm gonna totally get that game and play the holy crap out of it. I've even been like banking points in the reward system to cash in for gift certificates to get it nice and cheap, and that's gonna be sweet. Can't wait. But I know that it's gonna fucking steal my soul, so I'm gonna be very careful about how I play it. Well, I mean, when Dark Souls 3 came out, I was into modeling. I was doing stuff. Was I hosting? I think I was either doing live streams or I was just starting to dabble with live streams. And it came out, and I basically stopped modeling for like 3 or 4 months and did nothing but play that in every waking moment while I wasn't at work. I came home, and even before I would do anything, I would just go and turn my Xbox on right away, get the TV on, and then go say hi to Colleen and like take a drink. Like, yeah, and then be like, all right, I'm gonna go sit down right over here and play this game for the next as many hours as I can possibly stay awake. Not the wisest choices made in the past.
Yeah.
You can't learn from your mistakes if you don't make them.
That's right.
That's true. Huh? That's true.
I think we're a little over 2 hours. So I think on that note, we'll close out the live stream tonight. Thank you everybody for joining me here today. Jeff, thanks for sharing all your awesome frickin' work in Fusion 360.
Yeah, hopefully it won't be as long until the next time I have something new to show.
That's all good. You can just come and hang out if you don't have anything new to show. Yeah. It's not have to,
show us the old stuff. We love the old stuff either way.
But yeah, no, thank you for showing up and hanging out. I appreciate you. And appreciate everybody out there in the chat. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Kyle, also.
Yeah, man.
And we'll be back again next Thursday. This is becoming a habit. And we'll see y'all next time. Stay safe, eat good food, and make something fun that gets you inspired to be creative. See everybody later. Bye.
Cheers.
Bye.